Hey everybody, Bill 1911 here. Hey, we're here today. We're in the Everglades, as you can see in the background. There's an airboat behind me, which means we're gonna have some fun today. All right, so we're gonna go out. We're gonna take a little tour of the Everglades with our guide Jay, and he's gonna show us around. We're gonna have a good time. The name of the company is Everglades Airboat Tours, and we'll see you out there. Alright, so this little one over here is probably about 8 or 9 feet long. That's a good sized gator. This is not the time to be sticking your hand in the water and thrashing around because it might be enticing. So I was thinking about a little bit ago taking one of my waterproof cameras and putting it underwater to take pictures of the fish, but I decided not to. Now gators, they can go underwater and they can stay down for like half hour or so. Down she goes, swimming off. Yep. They're pretty cool. That's an animal that has remained largely unchanged for about 65 million years, all the way back to the Cretaceous period. Pretty neat animal. So we have a little guest up here. This is called a boat-tailed grackle. Now, I was guessing at that earlier, but our guide Jay informed me that is correct. This is called a boat-tailed grackle up here on this tree. A little story about that tree right there. We used to call them gator apple trees. They got a little fruit on them. Those things are tough as nails. We hit one with the swamp buggy when I was younger, and we tore one of the wheels off the darn swamp buggy because we hit one of those gator apple trees. They don't move if you hit them, trust me. They do not move. Go. Six or seven footer there. Yep. Now, one of the ways you can judge the size of an alligator is if you look and you see his nostrils and his eyes. However many inches that is long is about how many feet long the total gator is.
They have 80 teeth in their mouth. They have 40 on the top and 40 on the bottom. And they go through about 3,000 teeth in their lifetime. And that's from fighting other alligators and eating turtles. They really like turtles. They have an excellent nose. They can smell so well that they smell water. And that's how they end up in people's swimming pools and in their hot tubs. When the water goes down out here in the glades, they'll kind of do whatever they have to do to find water. And if that means climb gates and get in pools, that's what they'll do. 2 different eyelids. One's for underneath the water and it's clear, and it's kind of like a mask or a pair of goggles for them. and they can see and hunt really, really well underwater. And then they have a protective eye lens that's kind of like ours. Their ear is right behind their eye. It's a cut. It goes at a 45, pretty small, only about 1.5 inches long. All the bumps on their back are called alligator scoots. Really thick bone. They all interlock kind of like puzzle pieces down their back. And they're a natural body armor for them, but they also help disperse heat evenly since they're cold-blooded. It helps them digest food really fast. Their stomach is very, very soft, very vulnerable. An alligator only needs 1 meal a year to survive here, about 1/4 of their body weight. So a big turtle or a couple fish will do them for the whole year. They will eat a lot more than that if they have the opportunity to, but for the most part, they only need 1 meal a year to survive.
I have a question. You were saying something earlier about the Everglades and how fast the water runs.
The Everglades is actually one of the slowest moving rivers in the entire world. It flows about 1 mile every 26 hours, so about 1 mile a day is what it average, the average flow in the Everglades.
Would you happen to know how rapidly something like the Nile River would flow?
Not off the top of my head, but it is faster than the Everglades. Definitely a lot faster than the Everglades.
All right. We're definitely hanging out with the gators today. Yes, sir. Eat your heart out, UM. Just kidding, just kidding. I happen to be a UM fan, but you know, what can I say? All right, we got another gator coming in on us, and this one looks a good bit larger. Can't really tell for sure by the angle. If she was turned sideways, I could see better, but yeah, this one's a little bigger. This is maybe 7 to 8 foot. Not a lot bigger, but maybe a little. And if you're ever thinking that you can outrun an alligator in the water, no chance. But believe it or not, they're almost as fast on land. They can run up to 45 miles per hour. That's pretty quick. On them little short legs, they can't do it for very long, but they are fast.
All the tan stuff that you see in the water, mostly in the open areas like the prairies, like this one here, it's called periphyton. And it's the base of the ecosystem in the Everglades. It's a natural algae, grows in the sunlight, and the best way to describe it is it's kind of like a sponge. When that water flows through it, it'll trap any bad bacteria that are in the water and then naturally feeds on those bad bacteria. So it is a giant filter system, and it does work very, very well.
All right. Now, we were just calling that a pond lily a minute ago. Now, I always called it a swamp lily. But
One of our lilies in the Everglades. The other lily we have is called a spider lily, and it kind of looks like a spider web. Go ahead and show you guys a piece of this.
So let's take a good look at that sawgrass, and then you'll be able to see why they call it that.
You can see
Focus
pretty sharp edges on it.
Come on, autofocus, work for me. Okay, there we go. It's hard to see, but this stuff is triangular shaped, and it has these little teeth, so if you come up against it going that way toward the bottom, down, you can see it catching on my finger. This way is smooth. You can run right up it, but the other way, it's some sharp stuff, and it will cut you.
And then the base of it's kind of like the heart of the palm.
Mm-hmm.
Very high in fiber. And the Native Americans here, when the water was kind of stagnant in areas and not really moving, they would eat a bunch of this. It's super high in fiber, so it would straighten their stomach right out. And you can eat about that much of it.
Okay.
But there's lots of it.
Yes, there is. There are a number of edible plants in the Everglades. We talked about those gator apple trees a minute ago, and they've got kind of an apple on them. There's one of them right over there. And they're not bad tasting. I wouldn't say they're great, but you can eat them. But there is food out here to be had. And a lot of it, you wouldn't really initially recognize it. There is a tree out here. I have no idea what it's called, but the leaves, if you break them in half and smell them, they smell just like bay leaves. And that you can actually cook with them just like you can bay leaves. Right there's your gator apple tree.
Yep.
Okay.
This one's called a purple gallinal.
All right.
Pretty rare bird.
All right.
It's the only place in the whole entire world you'll actually see one. They only know two things about them. They know they mate for life like bald eagles, and that the male and the female are the same color. And that's also pretty rare with birds. They have those really big feet so they can walk across the lily pads, and they look for a hole right in the stem of these spatterdock lilies. Kind of like that. And sometimes there's a worm in the middle of it. Well, not in that one. Sometimes there's a worm in the middle of it, and it's called a bonnet worm.
Okay.
It's their favorite food. Love bonnet worms.
Is our friend here waiting to get fed a bonnet worm?
See if they'll take it. There you go, buddy.
Look at that. Now, just so you know, our captain on the boat here is actually a licensed captain. So I believe the state of Florida requires, if you're going to do boat tours like this, that you have to have a captain's license. So if you're out on this tour, believe me, you're in good hands. These guys know what they're doing.
Almost every one of these islands that you see like this typically has a female alligator on it, and she'll own the whole island. Very, very territorial, and they actually fight to the death over their territory. But they have their nests on them every single year, and it's pretty cool. Depending on where the mother puts the nest on the island, whether it be in the sun or in the shade, it will determine the gender of the babies. Anything above 93 degrees, they all come out male, and anything below 87, they all come out female. They have 30 to 60 eggs in the nest. It takes them 65 days to hatch. They all hatch in September. And lots of babies on these islands. They like to hide in them ferns, and you don't see them much. They very rarely are on the edges. Almost all these islands have a female alligator on them. Very territorial.
Come on, Mama, come say hello.
Here's the turtle.
Okay, I missed that.
He's coming up. He's coming up to us.
Soft shell?
Yep. Soft shell.
Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a large soft shell turtle right there in the water.
These scars on it. Gators tried to eat them.
Yep. Now I have a question. Is that considered a turtle or a terrapin? I don't know the difference, to be honest.
That's considered a turtle. I do believe so.
Okay. Well, you can see his head sticking up there, I guess.
It's a big one. See how long his head is?
Yep. Yep. I guess old Mama Gator ain't interested in making an appearance today.
Yeah, she must have took the kids to school or
Yeah?
something like that.
Yeah, she's probably taking her minivan out or something, you know,
Yeah.
just out. She could be out clubbing,
Yeah.
you know.
Might have been a late night.
Yeah. Hard to tell.
The female on this one. She always lays right there.
You know what? They probably had girls' night out. Is probably what it was.
They must have. They must have.
Now, if you come out here at night, if you shine a light, which you're not supposed to do, you'll see 3 different colors sometimes of eyes. The red ones are alligators. The green ones are frogs. But the yellow ones, those are the snakes. Almost looks like a grove back in there.
Tons of fish out here. Lots of bass and bluegill and brim and bloodfish, garfish, catfish. We have tilapia and cichlids, oysters, which are all invasive.
There's a fish I haven't seen in many, many years out here called a chain pickerel.
Yeah, pickerel.
Yeah,
I haven't seen them in a long time.
long time.
Yeah, a long time.
When I was a kid, they were out here, but not very many even then. They would remind you in shape of a garfish,
Yes. Yeah, very similar.
but the head was different.
Yep.
There's another big lizard for you. She's up catching some rays. I talked to a biologist a few years ago about those scutes that are on the backs of these alligators, and he was telling me that they are porous and that blood vessels run through those scales, those big scutes, the bones that are underneath, and that they can actually use that. The way they orient themselves to the sun has to do with how much heat transfers into their blood, so they can control their heat by doing a variety of things. Sometimes they'll open their mouths, and with their mouths open they cool off a little bit, and then they're too cold, they can get themselves out on the bank like this and catch a few rays and get warmed up. Hey everybody, Bill 1911 here. Hey listen, if you're watching this video, if you're enjoying it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? That's really important to us. And make sure you like us, and by all means, come to visit us at askbill1911.com.